I just made a $3,500 mistake with a client. And in this video, I'm going to tell you the mistake I made so that you don't make the same mistake I just did. Check it out. All right, here's how it goes. We typically, in our company, Laserline Painting, don't work with companies that are service call companies. A company that takes a call directly from their client, which is typically like a government program or government company, some sort of larger institution. And rather than those people trying to hire contractors themselves, what they do is they have a contract with a service call company. So if they need plumbing, electrical, line painting, snow removal, they don't have to call anybody. They just phone their service company and say, here's what we need. You guys go figure it out. So we will get some requests from service companies from time to time, and typically we don't work with them for the simple reason that we really prefer to work directly with the end client. On occasion we will if it makes sense, but typically we don't. We'd rather build a relationship with the clients that we work with, and you simply can't do that if you're going through a service call company. But in this case, I decided to go through with it and send a proposal because I was pretty familiar with the property. It's really close to our shop. It's only like 15 minutes away. And I figured it would be a slam dunk job. So I priced this proposal pretty high relative to the amount of time that I thought it would take our technicians to go, because I didn't go over there to do an updated site assessment. I had been to this property like a year ago. The paint was still kind of visible then. So in my head, I figured, well, it's probably still slightly visible. So I'll allow for some extra time for them to lay everything out, make sure everything's good, and then they can just paint it. So we get this work order from this service call company, and it just says, do line painting at this property. Simple enough. The mistake that I made was I didn't go to site to verify the conditions of the property. Our technicians went there over the weekend to paint, and the lot was filthy. We're talking like rocks, grass, gravel. There was like these shrub things coming out of the asphalt. Like, it was not paint ready, which leads me to the second mistake that we made. We do have a standard operating procedure for our technicians that if they go to a property, the lot is either dirty, they need to do some additional prep. We actually have our technicians document how much time they spend in spending additional labor for sweeping, for power sweeping, leaf blowing, anything like that to get the parking lot ready for paint. Because in our service agreement, we can actually charge the client back. So the whole premise of this is really simple. If your parking lot's dirty, then hire us and we'll do all of the sweeping beforehand as part of the proposal and then do the painting. But if a client wants just the painting and they don't ask us for any cleaning or pressure washing or anything like that, that means that we expect that when we go to site, and our service contract says this, that your parking lot is ready for paint. So in this case, the technicians went there. Lot was filthy. We're talking gravel, all that sort of stuff. And they decided to paint anyways. And they didn't do any additional cleaning. So this morning, I get emails in my email first thing in the morning from the service call company saying, what the heck is this? And they showed me photos of like the paint was like painting through dirt. They painted over grass, little sections of shrub and stuff. And obviously the paint is not going to last very long in certain sections. Some sections were totally fine. Others were not. So now we've had two mistakes. I didn't verify the site conditions. The technicians didn't do any cleaning. And so now we have to go back to this property, which should have been swept in its entirety. Like the whole 30,000 square foot parking lot should be swept. But because they didn't allow for that in their client and we didn't allow for that, the service call company doesn't want to go back to the client and say, hey, by the way, can you spend an extra like $1,000 to sweep this parking lot now that it's painted? It doesn't really work. So the only solution we have at this point is to either give them the sweeping completely free of charge or send the guys back to site with some brooms and some leaf blowers and clear off everything that we've already painted, make sure that it's as clean as possible, and then redo all of the painting again. No matter which way you slice it or dice it, this is a costly mistake. We will still be profitable even with 2 trips to this site. In fact, I kind of suspected that we might have to make 2 trips just because the paint was so faded and they didn't have a site layout. So at the time I figured, well, we might have to go back because there might be like a small section of paint that we didn't know about. But I did not expect them to go back to paint the entire thing twice. That is a massive profit killer to do that. So for you guys out there, make sure that you, at the very least, if you don't go to site to verify the site conditions, set the right expectations with your client. All I had to do to avoid this problem was just send an email like a week in advance. Hey, we're a week out from coming. Our guys are ready to come on this day. Is the parking lot 100% ready for paint? Because just so you know, we didn't allow for any sweeping or anything like that. That would have taken me like 20 seconds to send that. The client would have been like, let me check, or the service company would have been, let me check with the client. And the client would have said, actually, like, no, it's quite dirty. They're going to have to sweep it. And we could have solved this whole problem in advance with either some additional cleaning and a small price adjustment, rather than us going back to do everything all over again. Make sure you communicate proactively with your clients. Tell them your expectations. Make sure you set the right expectations as the professional, and don't make the same mistake I did where you have to go to a site twice to paint something that could have been done right the first time.